hang out. Okay. One for the countdown.
Ooh.
Your hangout on air will now be broadcast on YouTube. Oh, for update hours. Cool. Okay, so it's counting. Oh, we already started.
Yay!
Okay, good. Welcome to Mission for Christ today. I hope everyone is doing good. I want everyone to meet Jocelyn Andersen, a pastor and author, and I want you to do your introduction.
Okay, thank you, Trina.
You're welcome.
I am Jocelyn Andersen. I am a pastor and founder of Hungry Hearts Ministries, and that was since 1992. And I'm also the author of several books. Probably the most well-known is Women Submit, Christians and Domestic Violence. And so I'm just really thrilled to be here. Welcome, everyone, and thank you, Trina, for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
I'm so excited. And so I'm going to let Trina explain what we're doing today on our show. Two women in ministry getting together, two women preachers getting together. That may not be our topic, but we are certainly going to have a very, I think, lively time for about a half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or however, half an hour, unless God leads us longer. Who knows?
I don't think I trust her to.
I'm going to go with the half an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll let you choose if you want to go over.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I do want to say is I call it divine meetings of how we met. We are on the board member, or we are one of the board members of Walk with Christ Gospel Radio and Comfort Ministries.
Well, you're a board member of Comfort Ministries. I'm on the board with Walk with Christ.
No, I'm on the board of Walk with Christ.
And we're both on the board.
Okay, that's
Walk with
okay.
Christ. Yes.
Well, anyway, during a board meeting, through a conference call, we seem to have some things in common, and lo and behold, here she is living right here where I live in in this town. So
amazing.
And I believe that's God bringing people together, like you said,
right,
into the ministry.
Right. It was a telephone conference where we met, and people from all over the country were conferencing together. And so we didn't know we both lived in the same town. Actually, 9 minutes from each other.
Wow, 9 minutes.
We're that close.
So you just never know what God has in store. So, I did forget to put this on the we had some technical difficulties to begin with. You guys that follow me already know that happens with me from time to time. I'm not a technical person, and seems like I'm always learning new stuff, but I forgot to put the link with our friends on Facebook, so I'm doing that right now. You're
gonna have to teach me how to do these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think that you've got the personality, and I'm not. You have a more refined carry about yourself. I am
Can
so.
I roll my eyes there? We are who we are.
Yeah. Well, I am so. And I have actually worked on my. Because back when I was in school, people made fun of me because of my slang. That's what they called it. And they would make fun of me. I wouldn't say hungry. My word was hungry. We were hungry. So, and, it was just, my dad was from Georgia, and, that just kind of fell into it. But today, here's what we got going on. This is sort of like an interview. We have never met in person. So
this is our first time meeting in person.
Yes. And what we're going to do is we are going to interview each other. Q&A. Yeah. And I think that it's really going to go well. And I think that, as you guys know, I stopped doing videos, just started back doing it just about the time that I first talked to you on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe, I feel like this is God all the way, So, what? She thinks I'm technical.
Oh, she looked technical to me when I watched her videos. She's more technical than I am, for sure. I think the phones are moving a little slow in here. I think the signal's a little slow.
Yeah, but, I'm a little slow. But so we do not even know what we're going to ask each other. No, not at all.
We're both going to be totally surprised. This is live, people, really live.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, no call-ins today. What we would rather you do is just to sit back and enjoy us answering questions and interviewing each other.
Who gets to go first?
You get to go first.
Okay, I get to go first. You mean I get to go first?
You get to ask the questions.
Oh, good.
First.
Okay, good.
Now I gotta find my other page.
When Reverend Trina asked me if I would do this podcast for her, it was out there on the table. What do you want to talk about? We really didn't bat any ideas back and forth at all. We just said, well, you let me know what you want to talk about. You let me know what you want to talk about. So finally we settled on, let's just introduce each other. Let's interview each other. Let's come with a list of questions to ask each other and see what the Lord does. So we're both starting from scratch. We know very little about each other's history other than what we've seen online.
Right.
So the guidelines were kind of about our life, our faith, and our ministry. So I'm going to ask you Christianity. We're both Christians.
Mm-hmm.
We're both ministers, and Christianity is all about new beginnings. So my first question for you, Trina, is where were you at in your life when you first came to Christ? And what changes did you notice afterwards? What impacted you afterwards the most?
Okay. Well, growing up, I was, brought up in church, and I never really understood the concept of being saved. But I'd go down there and get saved. I was baptized like 3 times because, I thought that's what I needed to do. And I didn't really understand being saved until 2011, after 10 years of waiting for a diagnosis that no doctors could diagnose me with, and ending up in a debilitating state to where my doctors pulled me from work, stayed in bed for like a year. And one night I really wanted to die, and my mom called me, and I thank God for my mom. She called me and asked me to go to a revival at the church I was baptized in when I was 13. And I went, and some familiar people were there from when I was there at 13, and I'm 42 now. They prayed over me, and there was an instantaneous change in me. There was a hunger. There was I want to know more and more and more. I was literally taken, I would be reading the Bible when my husband was getting up for work, and when he came home, I would still be reading my Bible. So it was actually the illness that brought me to the Lord in the way that I understood. Because I always thought that I was a Christian, but I really wasn't until then.
How about that? That's an awesome testimony. It touches my heart. It really brings tears to my eyes. And I know there are people that are going to watch this broadcast and listen to this broadcast. And Reverend Trina's testimony is, you're going to relate to that. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful. Our personal testimony, I believe, there's nothing more powerful. There's nothing more powerful, and yours is powerful. Instantaneous change. See, we have the God of new beginnings, the God of miracles, and he put a hunger in your heart, and that's a wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, now I want to know the same.
Okay, well, I got saved at age 6. I remember at age 6 that my mother, I don't know what kind of church we went to. I don't know what the denomination was, but I do know that it was a small fellowship that met in a fire station in New Jersey. So we would walk into the fire station, past the fire trucks, into a section that had folding chairs, and then at the front, a little podium. And that's where we went to church. We may have had Sunday school there. I believe we did, just at little folding tables, different stations,
Oh, wow.
And I remember just sitting in the folding chairs with the adults. There was no children's church during those days.
Right.
And I don't remember what the preacher preached about at all. I was a child, probably not much interested in what he said. I have no memory of that. But I have a very strong, vivid memory of him asking anyone who wanted to join the church to come forward. And I just had I wanted to join the church. I just felt this longing to join the church. And so, excuse me, my little 6-year-old heart just led me to get out of my seat and walk forward. And the pastor knew why I was there. And I want to speak to pastors that may be watching this, soul winners. Take these children seriously. My pastor knew what I was there for, and he took a few minutes to question this little 6-year-old girl. He knew I was there for more than to join the church.
Yeah.
He knew I was there because I wanted to give my life to Jesus. So I gave my life to the Lord that day. And I knew I had become a Christian, 6 years old.
Wow.
And I knew a change had come in my life. And I went home, and I knew I must have been getting something from those sermons and something from those Sunday school teachers, because I knew I was a Christian now, and I had to be different. And I thought, well, I'm going to go clean my room, because that was the biggest sin in my life. My mother was probably harping about that from the time I was 4, that my room was always, I needed to always be neater in my bedroom. I went and cleaned my bedroom. I went home from church that day and went and cleaned my room, because I knew I was different and I had to be better as a person. And so that's how I came to the Lord. I will say, do you have a tissue? We'll be here. It's okay if you don't. I will say I did not serve the Lord after that. Okay. And that's another thing I really want to stress to pastors, children's church workers, anyone that works with children. Take those children seriously. I was a little 6-year-old, but I was a full-fledged born-again Christian. And what I didn't need, the Bible stories were wonderful, and thank God for my Sunday school teachers, and I grew up in a Baptist church, and for the GAs. But no one took the fact that I was saved really seriously and said, Jocelyn, now you're a Christian, I'm going to teach you how. I want to mentor you. I want to teach you how to walk the way. 6-year-olds can do that, and I wanted to do that, but no one took me under their wing, and I didn't have a good example in my home. I really didn't. My mother took me to church. Thank God she took me to church. I say often I had a drug problem because my mother drugged me to church day and night.
That's a good one.
Yes, and she did. And so here I am today, But we really didn't have a big example at home of how to do that. So this is all part of my testimony of where I was at when I came to the Lord, because I really backslid. Big time.
I did a lot of that. And
I stayed backslid throughout my teenage years and my young adult years, to the point where I knew I wasn't doing right. I knew I wasn't living right. I knew if I was going to hell. I knew it. I was terrified of it.
Yes, it's scary.
And I don't think anything's wrong with that. Really, honestly, I'm here. Jesus talked about hell more than I ever do.
He talked about hell
A
more than he
lot.
did the Bible,
Yes.
or heaven, I mean.
Yes, he did. And so I decided, I was so frightened of going to hell. I didn't hate God, I didn't hate Jesus, but I was a total failure as a Christian. And that fear and that conviction never left me. I was living a life that really did not honor God, that I knew was wrong and sinful. And so I decided I couldn't take that anymore. I was going to become an atheist. I made a conscious decision to start questioning the reality of God, the truthfulness of the Bible. I thought about it. I kicked it around. I justified it every way I could think of. And I remember one day I spoke it out loud. I don't think I believe that there is a God. And honestly, I shocked myself saying that to another person. And I just kind of paused and froze for a few seconds. And lo and behold, the lightning bolt didn't come down, and I was still alive moments later. And okay, this atheism stuff might work. And it was very comical the way I went about it. If it hadn't been so serious, it would have been comical, but I meant it. I wanted to get rid of God.
Yeah.
I was not looking for him anymore. I had been to the altar so many times. I had repented so many times. I had backslid so many times. It never stuck. This wasn't going to work for me. And I figured it had to be my mother's upbringing to bringing me to church all the time. That was my problem. Christianity was my problem.
Yeah.
So one day I got invited to a church. I was a Southern Baptist at the time, and it happened to be a Southern Baptist church. The pastor came and knocked on my door, and I didn't accept his invitation immediately, but one of the crowd we hung with, which was not a Christian crowd, said, I want to go to church. Okay. So the next week, about 8 really rough people showed up at Eton Baptist Church in Eton, Georgia. And I sat at the very back, questioned everything the pastor said, shredded everything he said, just tore it apart. The singing didn't touch me. The praying didn't touch me. I only went really to see if I could sit through a service without being touched, and I did. I sat at the very back, close to the door, in case I wanted to leave very quickly. So I walked out of there. It's really, really sad. I walked out of there patting myself on the shoulder. You did really well, Jocelyn. You sat through the altar call, the prayers, the preaching. You didn't feel anything. See, this Christianity stuff really is just a psychological crutch for people, and your mother just hooked you on it. It's not real. The next week, that same person in our crowd wanted to go back again. We all went back again together. I sat right in the back again, right next to the door. The door was right behind me on the left. That day, and the pastor had never had a conversation with me other than to knock on my door and say, I'd like to invite you to church. Okay, well, thank you for coming. Goodbye. He pointed his finger right at me. First words, after the singing, the praying, the song service, which didn't move me, he raised his hand up and he pointed his finger right at me, just like that. He didn't know he was pointing at me. And he said, and God gave them up. I got to tell you, folks, Trina, it was like something had come out of the end of his finger and slammed right in the heart. And at that moment, I said, God, I know you are real, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And that was the beginning of a walk that has now lasted almost 38 years.
Wow.
So the rest of the story maybe for another time, but that is how I came to the Lord, and I was just like you. I picked up that word, and I began reading it, and I just inhaled it day and night. I read through the entire New Testament in a little over a month, maybe 6 weeks, and then I started going through the Old Testament. I have been reading my Bible every day, always picking up today, yesterday. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Always picking up today where I left off yesterday. That has been my habit for over 37 years. It never gets old. It never gets boring. I continually see new things and learn new things. We never stop growing. We never stop learning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my story.
Can I comment real quick before
Of
I
course,
ask you a question?
of course, yes.
Oh wait, I think it's your turn to ask
It doesn't
the
matter.
question.
You
It's
can
your turn to ask
comment.
the
Yeah.
question. That's really powerful because and I always feel like atheists that they use that as a crutch themselves to justify their lifestyles. The one thing I never questioned God. I wasn't supposed to have children, and I prayed all the time, Lord, just one child, just one child, just one child. And I had my daughter, got pregnant. I was scared the whole pregnancy, thinking that she's not this isn't real. It's not really going to happen. Uh, but I have a 19-year-old daughter now that just graduated EMT, and she's got my first grandbaby on the way. So
how about that?
Yeah, but you know what? I didn't keep my promise to God, and it still bothers me to this day. But the one thing I did do, I had problems in former marriages. I'll be honest, and I would go and drink at the bar or I wouldn't do it, in front of my daughter for many, many, many years. I always kept that hid from her up until she was an age to understand. But Saturday night, I would get drunk, but I would drag her to church hungover on Sunday because she was involved in the church and she sang. And she actually kept me in church. I wasn't living right by any means, but I still prayed at night. I still believed, but I wasn't living right.
Mm-hmm.
So your story is like, you've seen both sides, and now I can. Now I got something to think about with what you said.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do with this broadcast. We're not really sure where it's going to go, but we want you to think. We want to win souls. We want to make disciples. We want to do the work of the Lord, and further the cause of Christ on this earth. Trina,
my other ministries calls us for Christ.
If you don't mind,
okay.
Since this is live,
yes,
I would really like to close out this segment because I want to put this on my radio station, hungryheartsradio.com, because I think both of our testimonies will reach different people and make a difference, and they're short and sweet, and maybe somebody won't just turn off the radio because it's getting too long. Do you mind? And we will continue this Q&A the next time.
Yes,
absolutely. Is that good?
Yeah.
Is that good with you?
That's good with me. That's good with me.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. And see, I just this is her radio station. So.
Well, no.
You did tell me I could. Yes, you
did. I told you that.
That's right.
She is my close. We are an equal in this.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's how it has to be. And I need to remember because when you brought up the Southern Baptist.
Mm-hmm. That was my background growing up.
Yeah, that was mine too. And I wanted to. Actually, I'll save the question I was going to ask you about that, and we'll do that in private.
Okay, and maybe we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
exactly.
Yeah.
So to my followers, I want you to follow her. I want you to tell. Do you mind giving them your website and radio?
My website is hungryheartsministries.faith. You can listen to my radio, which streams 24/7 at hungryheartsradio.com. And also, if you're in, I did mention my book, Woman Submit,
yes.
Christians and Domestic Violence. And so if you're interested in what that book might be about, it has its own webpage, womansubmit.com. And in any case, if you Google my name and the title, those things will come up.
Yes, and I've seen several books on Amazon.
Yes, I have about, 5, 6 7 books. I don't know.
I've
A
always
few.
wanted to write the book, but I don't have the skill.
Oh, well,
But
the skill you can still grows.
we hope that something that either of us said, well, actually, I know that there's somebody that it's touched, and I believe there's going to be more people.
I do too.
If anyone needs prayer, my 24/7 line, 786-566-1840. It's still there. So I'm going to let you close it out.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you for joining us. God is so good. If you haven't made a decision to give your life completely to Christ, I hope you do. It's a decision I have never regretted. It's a walk He has helped me in. He's an ever-present help in time of trouble, and He loves you.
Yes.
And He wants you to become part of His family and draw you into His fold. And there are things we'll never understand as long as we walk this earth. And then there are some things that we'll never understand until we totally belong to Him. But if you feel Him drawing you, I don't ask just, to pray this prayer with me, because you know what? All you have to do is say, Lord, I want you. I believe you. Reveal yourself to me.
Yes.
Empower me to walk with you. I want to know the truth. And Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Amen. All right. We will see you guys back next Thursday. Wait.
Not next Thursday.
Not next Thursday.
It'll be the following week. Next week is completely.
Okay. Next week is completely out.
Yes.
Okay. So the following week, let's see. I do Walk with Christ Radio at 3. It's up to you. Do you want to come Tuesday, or do you want to keep Thursday?
We'll talk about Thursdays are good.
Thursdays are
good. Yeah.
So Thursday at 3:00, give or take. I'm still trying to figure out this new system, so bear with me. I love you guys, and God bless y'all. Okay, and Jesus loves you too.
Are we still here?
I think so.
If we're still here.
Oh, no, it says off air. Okay, so where's this other one? Oh, stop stream.